Morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? I've missed you guys. Good morning. Say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I know I've been incognito for a couple of days. I was out of town. I was in Georgia, back in Florida. Hi, if this is your first time tuning in to one of my lives, hello, say hi, good morning, Mona, August, good morning from Lithia Springs, Georgia. I literally just left Georgia 2 days ago. If this is your first time tuning in, definitely say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And before I even begin, please like my page, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and you can hit the notification button so that whenever I go live, you know that I've gone live, or whenever there's information. Today is really just a very casual chit chat, where I just want to answer the questions that you guys have about immigration. I see you guys slide in my DM, so I know you have questions. So ask your questions, today. Oh, Mona, August, thank you so much. You're so sweet. So ask me what questions you have. Tracy says, hi, it's my first time from Florida. Hey, welcome. What part of Florida are you from? I'm in Orlando. And so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Aisha Chidolwe. I'm an immigration attorney. I represent clients all over the United States and internationally with their family immigration matters. So your location doesn't matter. Immigration is a federal law. So we take cases and have clients all over the United States. And my phone number here is 407-995-6567. If you're in YouTube or Facebook, you can see it scrolling on the ticker. And if you're in Instagram, it's in my profile. You can also send us a text message on WhatsApp if you want us to call you back to schedule a consultation. And it's 404-333-8751. Good morning, Yemi. Yemi says, good morning. Glad to have you back again. Thank you. I missed you guys. So I just want to talk about frequently asked questions. You guys ask me questions in the comments. This is your opportunity, especially those of you that don't want to book a consultation. Ask your questions. But one of the things that I just wanted to talk about real quick is that, I talked about this. I did a video while I was in Atlanta, actually, about this. But for conditional green card holders, news and updates. Starting as of last week, basically, any person who files for removal of conditions of their conditional green card, instead of the typical 18-month extension of your green card that you normally would get, now what they're doing is they're giving you a 24-month extension. And somebody I know in the comments asked me, well, what about those of us that applied after September 4th? The same thing applies. And those that applied before September 4th, the same thing applies, where they will reissue a new extension for you. Now, I don't know how far back they're going to go in the reissuing. Obviously everybody after September 4th will definitely get 24 months. Everybody before September 4th will get a reissue. Not everybody. Some people will get reissue. We just don't know how far back they're going to go. And what this does is that, a lot of times people will say, oh, my green card or the temporary green card they gave me or the extension is about to expire, but they've not made a decision on my case. So the goal is to reduce backlog and reduce people having to go to InfoPass to get their passport stamped, because on average, that's how long it's taking, And see, when I tell you guys things are taking long, you think it's just me just saying that. I am not just saying that. Things are taking a long time. Things took a long time before COVID, and now because of COVID, there's a backlog. So the good news in all of this backlog is that at least USCIS is taking the initiative to make it easier for people who are experiencing the backlog by, one, increasing the work permits to 2-year work permits and travel permits to 2-year work travel permits. And now they're doing the same thing with the green cards, extending it for another 2 years, just so that you have that while they're making a decision on your case. But as you guys can see, it's, I don't have a crystal ball about your cases. Like, it's taken a long time. Okay, so let me jump into the questions. On Instagram, and if you guys see me, for those of you tuning in for the first time, if you see me scrolling up and down, I have 2 screens up. So, sometimes I look up and down just to answer. So somebody says, I received my 2-year green card on January 2020, my husband and I have not traveled at all. Will that affect our paperwork? Louis on Instagram. So you not traveling does not affect your paperwork. However, in order for you to make sure that you and your husband, or well, you get your removal of conditions removed, or your conditions removed, you still must show that you have a bona fide marriage. And how you do that is you still need to continue to accumulate things to show your marriage. So you got yours in January 2020. So we're almost hitting the deadline, which is, for you to submit, which is essentially next month. So you need to show that between January 2020 up until when you submit, and then up until when you actually attend your interview, if you're given an interview, that you still are acquiring things together, whether it's that you're filing taxes together, whether it's that you guys have a bank account that's, ongoing together, and you're spending from the bank account, whether it's that, because obviously, the traveling, it's an easy excuse. There's COVID, very few people are traveling. But other things, are you doing things locally? Are you guys going to restaurants? Are you guys going to local sites and, things like that? Are there friends and family that know of you guys that can write affidavits for you guys? Do you guys have bills together? Do you have children together? Do you have emergency contacts listed? So things like that. So just want to make sure you gather all those things, okay? Someone says, after receiving a prima facie, from your experience, how long will it take to receive your work permit? So the prima facie has absolutely nothing to do with your work permit. Prima facies generally come because they feel that your I-360, that's your actual VAWA application, is saying that you've met the bare minimum to be classified as a VAWA petitioner. But the work permit, if you're submitting your VAWA application with an adjustment of status, is basically that comes with the adjustment of status application. Normally that takes anywhere from 5 to 8 months. 5 to 8 months is the average timeline. When you've done your biometrics, or you have a biometrics bypass, then you can be a bit more hopeful that it's coming sooner than later. But the prima facie has nothing to do with the work permit. Okay. Okay, Instagram, you guys are busy today with questions. Hula hooping is life. Interesting name. Says, I want to know if I should apply for my husband to get a visitor visa while we wait for his conditional green card visa to be approved. He's in Ghana and I go there every 90 days, but it's getting really expensive. I am sure going there every 90 days, that is expensive. So the answer is that at this point, you don't have anything to lose. The odds are he probably won't be approved, to be honest with you, because you're married and you have something pending for him already. So they're going to be like, well, just file for him, just file for him. Or we see already that you already filed for him. So just wait for it. So you can certainly try. He can certainly try to apply, like I always say, if you have the ability to submit the application, by all means, submit the application. Even if your odds are low, but you have nothing to lose, but your odds are low that he'll be approved just based on what is pending, and they know that he's trying to come here. And the reason why is because he becomes an overstay risk. They know that once he comes here, he'll probably not come back. So that's why. Somebody says, okay, good morning. Katie on YouTube says, good morning. How long is VAWA taken to get approved? So VAWA cases right now are taking like 24 months, at the bare minimum, like everything is delayed. This is what it was taken before COVID. So we're seeing a mixed bag, but it could vary between 18 to 2.5 years, 18 months to 2.5 years. So it just really depends on where you fall, and it depends on your own officer and whoever's reviewing your case. But, after 2.5 years, that's, we can start looking to see, okay, what's the status, what's going on. But that's just what, I'm seeing right now, around that, slightly above 2.5, and in saying that, obviously, I will always have the clients that are exceptions, some clients that are exceptions where they're getting approved before 2 years, or they're getting approved at exactly 2 years. But it just really depends, guys, but that's the average, 2 years to 2.5 years. Somebody says, Sarja on Facebook says, good morning. How long will it take for me to get a response after doing my 10-year green card interview? So the answer depends. It depends on, did you have a conditional green card and you're waiting for that? The answer really varies depending on your officer and what happened in your interview, or what evidence you submitted. Do they need supplemental evidence? Is there anything in your record that is in question and they're not sure of, that they need to do background investigation? Some people get approved the same day. Some people get approved 5 months later. Some people get approved 10 months later. Some people longer. Hopefully that's not your case, but it really depends. It's hard to give you an answer unless, I was your immigration officer and I knew what was happening in your case. That being said, if you've not heard anything after 6 months, after your interview, you can definitely try to do an inquiry just to see, what's going on. Let me just, let them let you know. So Helen says, I'm a green card holder. I'd like to file for my son who is 5 years old. How long will it take for him to get here? That's what I'm assuming that you're asking me. So the answer is it depends. A lot of today's questions is it depends. Timeline is really hard to nail down a timeline for you. But right now, again, we're seeing 15 months to 2 years on consular processing. So right now, visas are available and you can certainly file for your 5-year-old son right now. But again, there was a ban in consulates or where they closed and stopped things last year because of COVID. So there is a backlog. And so a lot of them are still dealing with the backlog, so at the very minimum, 15 months is what I would say. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Somebody says on 15th of September, is there any chance to pass the bill for illegal immigrants? What is your opinion? Will they do something or not? Honestly, I don't know. I tell you this, in this world of immigration and in this world of politics, there's nothing that surprises me, and then there's also nothing I expect. So what I mean by that is, you have two parties that are the polar opposites of what they believe as far as immigration. One side is like immigration reform. The other side is like, no, we don't want any more immigrants here and stuff like that. So what I will say is that I know that President Biden and Democrats, this right now is something that is very important to them. This is very important. This is a platform that President Biden ran on immigration reform, and I do know that they're working to do something. The question is, what are they going to do, or what is going to be allowed? It's possible that in order for them to get at least some things passed, that they're going to slice and dice all those bills to come up with something that they both agree with. Even if it goes through Congress, I'm sure it could pass through Congress, whatever. The problem is when it gets to the Senate, it's where it becomes really dicey. So I can't really say what's going to pass. I do know that something of some sort will pass. Who is it going to cover? I don't know. I feel that they're going to do something for DACA, those who have DACA and those who have TPS, but I don't know. So I don't want you to hold me to it. This is just me being optimistic and hopeful, but we're going to wait and see what happens. Louis Pat says, we have everything else, but we don't travel due to the pandemic. Then there's nothing to worry about. As long as you can show traveling is not a requirement to get a green card. You don't have to. Some people don't have the money to travel. And you shouldn't be penalized for not going on vacations. That makes no sense. So as long as you have everything else, you're good. Annabelle on Instagram says, my spouse is refusing to file for me. She doesn't want to give me her documents for us to file. Annabelle, call me. You sound like you might have a valid case. I would like to qualify you. My phone number is 407-995-6567. Okay. So Eve Watson on Facebook says, can you please repeat what you said about getting the green card? We need to show proof that we have a couple of things together, such as what? So I actually have several videos on this, Eve. Maybe you have to scroll through to see where I write lists of evidence to prove a bona fide marriage. But generally, when you want to prove bona fide marriage, first of all, things that they don't care about. These are the things they don't care about. They don't care about your marriage certificate. Duh, you obviously have a marriage certificate. That's why you're married. They don't care about your wedding pictures unless your wedding pictures where you had like a lavish or a big wedding with lots of family and you spent money on your wedding, like money. If you had a court registry, 1 or 2 people, a sprinkle of people, that means nothing to them because it means nothing. If you want to show you have a bona fide marriage, you need to show your day-to-day life. What is your day-to-day life like? Do you guys have a joint bank account? And before I go through this list, I'm not saying if you don't have one, you're not going to get approved. I am giving you things that a combination of as many of them as possible will make your case stronger. Having a joint bank account where you guys actually spend money on is very good. Meaning you don't just have a joint bank account and it's just for decoration and it's like, okay, we have like $200 in there, but you never use it for anything. You don't use it to pay bills. You don't use it to go grocery shopping. You don't use it for nothing. That's not good. So if you're going to have a joint bank account, make sure you guys are using it for bills. Make sure you guys are using it to go shopping, and make sure it's not only one person using it. So you both need to have debit cards. I know sometimes some people say, oh, I don't have a social security number, so I can't get a bank account. Yes, you can. There are many banks, including Bank of America, that will allow you to get a bank account with your spouse, even though you don't have your social security number yet. So make sure you go look for one of those banks and get a bank account. Another good thing is, obviously your utility bills, your lease, even if you have a lease, get it properly executed lease. When I say executed, I mean signed. Make sure it's properly signed by you and your spouse, or at least you're listed as an occupant. If let's say, the landlord is like, well, this person doesn't have a social security number, so we're not going to add them. You want to make sure that you're listed as an occupant. At the very least, if your spouse has children or you have children, make sure, it's good to be listed as an emergency contact in school. If your spouse has health insurance or you have health insurance, put each other as dependents, on that, and then gather pictures, make sure you have a lot of pictures, of different scenarios, different times in your lives, different places that you guys went to. And, I will say that with pictures, they're not trying to see pictures of you and your husband and wife or husband and husband or wife and wife making out. They don't care about that. They just want to see pictures that show a legit relationship. And a lot of times those pictures include other people as well, because it means that you're not hiding your relationship. It means that people know that you guys are in a relationship, because if you send 20 pictures and all of them is you and your spouse, selfie this, selfie that, it doesn't give you weight, but if you have a picture of Thanksgiving dinner with like the family, Christmas with the family, Christmas decoration, Christmas tree, you guys went to, I don't know, Staten Island, Statue of Liberty. I'm just picking random, sights and sounds in America, Disney, Universal Studios, for those of you in Florida, all those things that show the matter of the heart. Like those are good evidence. Let me see what time it is, because I have a meeting soon. That's matter of the heart, like showing that you have a real marriage. And then of course, if your friends and family could write you guys an affidavit. Honestly, the list is so exhaustive. I'm just giving you a brief thing. If you schedule a consultation with me, usually I will send you like a list once, you hire me, of a breakdown of things. And another good thing also is social media. Like, so if you post your spouse on social media, I love to, one of the things that I love to do when I'm putting my packets together is put screenshots of comments and people, saying, oh, congratulations couple, oh, cute couple, basically it's showing that the world around you is endorsing your marriage, it's endorsing your relationship. So those things are good. Okay. Sarjo says, okay, thanks. It's a conditional green card. I'm not with my wife. And so for those of you tuning in, I think you were the one that asked the question initially about how long does it take to get your 10-year green card. So Sarjo, the answer is going to really depend on what you submitted, and the reason why you asked for an exemption since you're no longer with your wife. Hopefully, whatever you submitted is enough to get you that approval. My marriage is 2 years and 4 months, but my wife is not ready to file for me. Giwa, definitely give me a call. Let's schedule a consultation and see if you qualify to self-petition by yourself. My number is 407-995-6567. Okay. Let's see what else. Kyan says, if you're out of status, can you work with your Social Security Well, obviously the answer is that you need to have a valid work permit to work. So you need a valid work permit to work in the United States. Now, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, and I am not telling you to do this, I am just saying what the immigration rules are. There are people who work under the table and are married to a U.S. citizen, and it is sometimes forgiven. As long as you've never claimed to be a U.S. citizen, you've never filled an I-9 saying you're a U.S. citizen, you know, you're authorized to work. If you're married to a green card holder, you will not be forgiven for that. You will not be forgiven to that. That being said, the only way that you're legally authorized to work in this country is if you have a valid work permit, okay? Nana says, what about people who are in a long-distance relationship? So, well, the answer is what kind of long-distance relationship? Is your spouse outside the country? If your spouse is outside the country, then you're obviously doing a consular processing. If your spouse is inside the country and you guys have a long-distance relationship, this is what I always say. You better have a darn good reason why you have a long-distance marriage. It means that one spouse is in medical school here and one spouse has a license in some profession here and they can't move, and so they're waiting for that person. And if that is the case, you better be seeing your spouse all the time. You better have receipts of airfares, of traveling every other weekend. You better have several screenshots of you guys FaceTiming, WhatsApp videoing, and all of that stuff, literally on a daily basis, you know, and when you're together, all the things that you do together. So while it's not necessarily a requirement, but it also raises a red flag. You know, so if you're telling me that, oh, you know, we have a long distance marriage, my spouse doesn't want to move, and I say to you, well, what does your spouse do for a living? And you tell me, oh, my spouse works at Walmart. That is a problem. Your spouse can get a job at any Walmart or any other grocery store in any other state. So they should be moving, you know. So definitely think about what it is that's causing you guys not to be together. And if it's not a legitimate reason, like, oh, I don't want to relocate, you know, whatever it is, and stuff like that, you better move together. Okay, so let me see what else I have here. Annabelle says, I want to file for VAWA, but my spouse is mute on me. First of all, you don't need your spouse to file for VAWA. First of all, you should not even be telling your spouse that you're filing for VAWA. Don't ever do that. You said you don't have proof of your spouse's citizenship. Call me, like I said, and I will go over it with you. Even if you don't have proof that your spouse is a citizen, as long as you know your spouse is a citizen, we can help you. Okay. Louise says, I have a removal order, but I was granted travel documents with VAWA. Can I travel? No. Can one get a straight 10-year green card after marriage without first getting the 2-year? Absolutely. If you've been married and at the time of your interview, you've been married for 2 years or more, you'll get a 10-year green card. If you've been married, and you know, we have many clients that get that all the time. And then if you've been married for under 2 years, then you'll get a 2-year green card. You know, I always say to people right now that, you know, sometimes delay is not denial. And sometimes the delay that's happening right now is a blessing for some people, because as much as, you know, there's a delay in certain cases, like in marriage-based cases, if you're already on the cusp, you can be lucky. And, you know, by the time they approve you, you would have been married for a little over 2 years and you get your 10-year green card. So you don't have to do this again. Because, you know, for those of you who have been married for less time, believe it or not, you're going to have to do the same exact thing. And the standards are a bit higher. In 2 years, when your conditional green card expires, the standards are much higher when you are filing for removal of condition versus when you're filing for marriage. And the reason of that is because, you know, a lot of times when you've not gotten a green card before, you've not gotten Social Security, they understand that you're not going to have a lot of the documentary evidence of marriage as somebody who has all those things. But when you have a Social Security and you have a green card, they expect you to have more. They expect you to have more and expect you to have access to more jobs and, you know, live around each other, live together. So that's why. Somebody said, is it possible to use 24-month extension letter to travel outside the U.S.? What kind of extension letter? Are you talking of a conditional green card? If it's a conditional green card, the answer is yes. If it's not a conditional green card, what are you talking about? What extension are you talking about? And with the conditional green card, you always still want to make sure that you don't have any NTA, which is a notice to appear in front of an immigration judge, because sometimes, if let's say you filed for conditional removal and you got denied, and then we file again or something, and you're in removal proceedings, meaning because of the initial denial, and you're just waiting for the second one, it's definitely not recommended to travel out of the country, just because you just don't want to deal with our Customs and Border Patrol. It's too risky. Okay. Somebody says, if you're from Jamaica and came to the United States, how long after you're married can you do your paperwork? So Tamar, it doesn't matter where you're from. They don't care where you're from to determine how long before you can do your paperwork. You can file as soon or as late as you want once you get married. Just make sure that, you didn't just marry and start filing like 2 weeks after you came into the United States, because there's going to be a presumption of misrepresentation of immigrant intent in the first place, and USCIS does not like that. So, you definitely don't want to submit anything within earlier than 90 days from when you entered into the country, because they're going to know that's what you're trying to do. Okay. Roland says, what state are you in? So I am actually right now in Florida. That's where I'm located. We have offices in Georgia, as well in Atlanta area, as well as here in Orlando area. But I represent clients in every state. So whether you're in Texas, North Dakota, South Dakota, Alaska, Wisconsin, New York, North Carolina, we have cases in every state, and we represent clients in every state, and we're able to work with them. So that shouldn't be a problem for you. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Oh my goodness, guys, I gotta go. I have a meeting. Okay, well, this was fun. Apparently you guys like this frequently asked questions better than my topics. So I see so many questions here, and I apologize because I don't think I'm going to be able to save them once I log off, but I will try to see if I can bring some of those questions up tomorrow. I'm going to come on live tomorrow. So if you can come on live tomorrow, and I will try and answer them. I will try to come on around between 9 a.m. to 9:05 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So for the questions I didn't get to, definitely ask me your questions. Okay, guys, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. All right, bye.